You are all very welcome to the 2021-2022 Ancient Order Hibernians, Ladies Ancient Order Hibernians Christmas Appeal donations. Today, we're honored to have 51 Hibernians in Belfast at the Houben Centre for face-to-face and virtual presentations. First up on the event will be our National Freedom for Ireland Chairman, Martin Galvin. Martin?
Thank you, Danny. And as you said, we have 51 people here on a tremendous tour. It's dealt primarily with legacy. But again, whenever the AOH and LAOH, what we do for Freedom for All Ireland, involves also contributing to the groups that do such great work for Freedom for All Ireland. And if you're one of the contributors around the country, this is your opportunity to see and hear personally from those groups which get your contributions. And we're also going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have people come, members of the AOH and LAOH, stand behind me, hand the checks, because it is really all of you around the country, the work that you do and the contributions that you make that make today possible what we're doing possible. We're going to begin. We're at the Houben Centre. We're in our dawn. We're actually at a place where just a few weeks ago, a peace forum was disrupted by loyalists, by a hoax bomb, kidnapping someone, plenty of hoax bomb and protest at Simon Coveney. And there was some concern about going back here, whether that would jeopardize the work. We agreed to come back to make these presentations today from that very place as a sign of how much we support the work of Father Gary Donegan, about how much we support the work of the Passionist Peace Centre. And we're going to begin with our host. We're proud to have Father Gary Donegan and the Passionist Peace Centre at the Houben Centre.
In February 2016, a wooden replica of the Passionist sign was officially unveiled at the opening of the Houben Centre, and it's carved into that sign a recognition of the AOH and LAOH for the commitment to peace and reconciliation, and throughout their generosity in aiding the renovation of the Houben Centre. This is the bicentenary, the 200th year of St. Charles Houben, the little Dutch Passionist who walked these grounds and for whom the centre takes its name. Over 300 people would come to see him on a daily basis in Mount Argus in Dublin, and here then in Ardoyne. He came synonymous with reconciliation. And there's a certain irony that this piece of space here in Ardoyne, which represents the parish that suffered the largest loss of life during what we euphemistically refer to as the Troubles, is called after a wee Orangeman, a wee Dutchman. That was my idea. On the 3rd of June 2007, my parents, Christina and Michael, carried forward the offertory gifts to present to Pope Benedict at St. Charles's canonization. You can see a photograph on the little souvenir booklet on page 7 that we've left for you here. The Passionists came here in 1869, the first and oldest Passionist parish run by a religious order in the island of Ireland. Our first vow is to preach Christ crucified. Therefore, we are here present wherever the modern day crucified are. St. Paul of the Cross, our holy founder, and this is his tercentenary, 300th year, would surely have chosen a foundation like Holy Cross and Ardoyne. Down through the years of the conflict, various Passionists have worked on the front line. Proudly, this is my 21st year out of 31 years of priesthood working in this parish. Suffering, pain, isolation, and loneliness have not changed down the generations, but how to respond with love, compassion, understanding, acceptance is a constant challenge for us Passionists and those who work with us in our modern day mission. Therefore, the challenge both we Passionists and those who work in partnership with us is to reflect the hearts and minds that are open to doors of mercy, making no distinction of religion, ethnic background, gender, ability, or any other term that can make distinctions between people and our common humanity. This place, blessed and anointed by your presence today, and those who will continue to cross its threshold, challenges us to utilize it, to develop it, and to maintain it for the icon that it is. The work of the Passionist Peace and Reconciliation Office, in conjunction with the Houben Centre, is made all that more likely through your generosity, to which Brian McKee, affectionately known as my wingman, the Passionist, people like Michael Hanna, associated with the renovation of the Houben Centre, we publicly wish to acknowledge your generosity today. Thank you, and you're very welcome.
Next, originally this tour was to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Bloody Sunday, and we could not go because of the COVID situation at that time. But we, of course, they are very much a part of our efforts. We want to contribute to their work for Freedom for All Ireland, and so we're going to go to Derry, to John Kelly, one of the leaders, the leader of the Bloody Sunday Trust campaign. John.
Thank you, Martin. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Again, I was thanks again once again to AOH and the ladies AOH for their generous donation to the Bloody Sunday Trust. We had a brilliant meeting there last week with yourselves. It was fantastic to see you all again, and hopefully you will come back soon. But in relation to the donation from yourselves, as you know, we've had the 50th anniversary celebrations or commemoration over the last a few months, but mostly in the month of January, we were very, very busy. We started off with a mass for the anniversary. The 50th anniversary mass was celebrated by the Bishop of Derry. Then we had a lecture, Bloody Sunday lecture, which was actually conducted by Jeremy Corbyn. Then on the Sunday, we had the Walk of Remembrance. Now, normally the vast majority of the families don't do the march, but we decided to do a Walk of Remembrance early in the morning, which was fantastic. It was a brilliant turnout. We had the memorial service in the morning, and we had the likes of, we had 5 members of different denominations from all over the north too as well, who took part in it. Then we had a brilliant piece at night in the forum, whereby President Higgins actually sent a message of support to the families. So we had a fantastic commemoration of the 50th anniversary. And what I can say, as you know, these things cost money. So certainly the money donated by the AOH and the ladies AOH will certainly go and help us to get through all the expense of it. But I'm also going to give you an update about Soldier F. Soldier F, as we know, was responsible for 5 murders and 6 attempted murders on Bloody Sunday. Soldier F, actually last year, it was decided by the PPS not to continue with the prosecution of Soldier F. But last year we decided to take it to the High Court, and that decision was overturned. So yesterday, is the continuation of the committal proceedings against Soldier F was actually postponed, due to the fact that PPS have decided to appeal the decision by the High Court not to prosecute Soldier F. So with an ongoing argument here, we have a thing going on with Soldier F. Then we go on to the legacy aspect. I'm going to read you out a piece of the speech by Mickey McKinney, one of the Bloody Sunday families, at the memorial service in relation to the legacy plans by Boris Johnson and his government to introduce a statute of limitations to the killings and all killings during the conflict. I'm going to read this out to you, and I hope you find it helpful. The British government has announced the end of all legacy investigations here. They have announced this amnesty because they are scared. They're scared that their soldiers, books, and civil servants will be exposed, and that their role as a combatant and as a catalyst in the war in Ireland will be highlighted around the world. They're trying to deny us justice because they are scared to face justice. But we send a very clear warning to the British government that if they pursue the proposals, the Bloody Sunday families will be ready to meet them head on. We will not go away or be silenced. We will expose them for what they are, an embarrassment to any democracy founded on the rule of law. The message we're sending out there, we're not going to give up. It's not going to end. The only problem is too as well, it will have a major impact on other families seeking truth and justice. And that's what the British are hoping for, that the families will go away. But all I can say to them is the Bloody Sunday families, the Ballymurphy families, and all the many families out there seeking justice, we will be there to support them. But I must mention also Daniel Higgerty's case. His was stopped as well. Young Daniel was murdered in Motorman, and the Brits, because of the decision by Soldier Rep, decided not to continue with the case. So his case is up today, and hopefully they will get a good result. By finishing on saying, from the families, from the Bloody Sunday families, from the Bloody Sunday Trust, we thank you for all the years of support that you've given us to our campaign of truth and justice. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Bloody Sunday Trust, some of the other groups that are represented already received checks. We were able to meet with John and the Bloody Sunday Trust during the week and present the check personally at that time. All right, next we're going to go, we talk about this being a successful tour. We talk about the tremendous work on legacy, the things that have been arranged for us, and the webinars that actually a lot of you watch them and support the Christmas appeal because you see the work that they do. I think all of them begin with, and are the person who is most crucial, the group which is most crucial to them, is our next recipient, that is Mark Thompson and Relatives for Justice.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Donny. Thank you, Karen, Madeline, Dolores, Sean Pender, the leadership of the AOH and the LAOH and the Freedom for All Ireland. Legacy is the defining issue of our time now. John Kelly used a word about the British Army, the British government in our country. They were combatants who acted illegally and with impunity. And as part of the Good Friday Agreement that you and Irish America stood up for and fought for, provided the European Convention into domestic legislation as part of that agreement, the Human Rights Act 1998. That gave families agency for the very first time to go to court, to litigate, to demand proper effective investigations, to get to the truth and to hold the British government and its illegal activities in our country through killings and torture and imprisonment, to hold them to account for what they've done. And in the past 2 decades, families and NGOs and lawyers have been creative and imaginative, but they're only champions for justice because you in America have stood up and stood beside them, defended the Good Friday Agreement, defended the 2014 Agreement on Legacy at Stormont House, and still stand with them today. And with your resources, the groups like us and the families enable us to continue that work. Out of last year's donation, we made a significant contribution along with O'Murray's law firm for the murder of a 14-year-old girl not far from the scene of Ballymurphy and Spring Hill, Martha Campbell, in terms of ensuring that we get to the stage of reopening an inquest for her. Last night, I got word that Maria McShane and Katie and Armagh passed away. She worked closely with Sean Murray over here as a filmmaker and with ourselves as an organisation. She was a victim of the Glen Ann gang when 2 serving RUC officers planted a bomb in the barn in Keeley, and she nearly lost her life. She lost an eye and had extensive head injuries. She was pregnant, and Gavin McShane was born. And 17 years later, that miracle baby, as she called him, was murdered by loyalist paramilitaries in Mid-Ulster with weapons provided by British military intelligence and an agent at the heart of it that has created been involved in scores of murders. What we were able to do with the resources provided from America was to produce an extensive report into murders across East Tyrone by the Mid-Ulster UVF and agents of the state, and Gavin's case at the centre of that. That's part of serious litigation at the minute in the courts. During the week, another campaigner that had the privilege of speaking to you on a webinar, Willie Loughlin, a legend here in North Belfast, a man whose brother was killed by 5 other men in February 1973, and who worked tirelessly for justice. And along with our work team and O'Murray solicitors and KRW Law, we were able to file a petition to the Attorney General and reopen that inquest. And we've worked with families and other lawyers, and you've worked with the Spring Hill families yesterday. These inquests are in jeopardy. Investigations are in jeopardy. The police ombudsman that delivered significant reports into collusion recently are in jeopardy. And Irish America are standing up to the British and their plans for an amnesty. Keep that work at the top of your agenda. That is the priority. We are fighting for justice. This society is fighting for justice, and the peace that we have demands justice as well. So thank you for everything that you do. And I want to use a phrase, Torrance Lacalia is a great Irish phrase. It means pulling together. And we are all pulling together in North America and here and punching it with our weight against the British proposal. So Cora Mila, my other.
And we've asked everybody not to say anything because we're trying to move the webinar ahead, so that's why nobody's saying. It's all mine. Okay, we're going to go from Belfast. We've gone to Derry. Next, we're going to go to Tyrone. One of the key things that we do is groups that work with the families of political prisoners. And in Tyrone, that group is A, means escape. And we're going to go to them and to Frankie. Danny, do we have Ayla on? Danny, do we have Ayla remotely?
Who's on from ALU?
Should be Frankie Quinn.
No, I don't see Frankie on at this moment. I'll try and find him. Let's go on to the next
we'll
one.
then go to our next group, which is Belfast National Graves. But you gotta stay in the 3 minutes before you get the job.
You gotta sing for your dinner.
I'm always the speaker that everybody forgets about. So on behalf of Belfast National Graves, welcome home. And it's good to see you, and we missed you. And thank you for the work that you have done over many, many years. The road to Irish freedom is a long and it's a hard road. Sometimes it's a road that's filled with despair. Every step on that road, we have been comforted, supported, cheered on and led on by the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. So on behalf of the Belfast National Graves, thank you very much. I just want to say welcome to all those who are at home and who are planning their next fundraising activity. Good luck, thank you, and we'll see you when you come home. It's not often you get 2 checks, don't you?
Everybody's getting 2 checks.
Oh, I thought you were expecting. Thank you.
See, I give Joe a hard time. He used to work me like a dog in a press center.
You deserve it.
I didn't feel bad when you said it, but when everybody agreed with you, that was okay. Our next group. We're going to stay in Belfast. We're going to go to another group, which has worked very hard, very long for the families of prisoners, contributed actually during the whole struggle on a weekly basis to families in accordance with need, now supports the bereaved and call on Green Cross.
Hi there. I'd just firstly like to thank all the members of the AOH and the LAOH for including Green Cross in this afternoon's presentation. My name is Sinead Walsh and I represent the Green Cross today. I'll just give you a wee bit of a background to us. We're a charitable organisation. We're formally founded in 1973, but our roots go back much further. We drew our inspiration from the work of Irish Republican activists, mostly women, who campaigned on behalf of Irish political prisoners and their families from the dark days of the Black and Tans right through to the aftermath of Operation Harvest in the 1960s. As resistance to British occupation intensified and to armed struggle and political agitation in the 60s during the 1970s, the numbers of men and women in prison through the use of internment without trial and non-jury diplomat courts grew into thousands. Sadly, the numbers of men and women who give their lives in struggle also grew. Every one of our Patriot Dead had a family. All of our prisoners had families, and each of those families had to struggle to deal with the impact of their situation. So Green Cross was established with the aim of trying to provide some assistance to those families in any way possible. To provide even the most basic assistance to such a large number of people and families required dedication and commitment. As a charitable organisation, we have always had to rely on the help and donations of others. One of the most consistent and generous sources of that help came from our Irish American family and friends. the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the Ladies' Ancient Order of Hibernians, and they've always been an important part of that family. And while the nature of our work has changed in more recent times, the need for the services we provide hasn't. We remain engaged with the families of our patriot dead. We work with other Irish Republican organisations within the broad prisoner community, and together, where needs are identified, we try to help in any way at all that we can. As in the case in wider society, what we can do is dictated by the resources available to us. Your gift to our organisation is vital in helping us to continue our work across the Republican community. We're all emerging from a very hard couple of years with the coronavirus. This pandemic brought more struggle and hardship to our community, and none more so than to our Republican family. Once again, with the help of donations like yourselves, we were able to help our Republican family through the hardships that faced us. Our commitment to the Republican struggle remains as steadfast today as it always was. Our patriot dead families and wider Republican family remain our guiding light. We have dedicated our lives to that objective. We work to that end, and we will continue to do so with the help and generosity of friends like you in the AOH and the LAOH. And I'd just like to say another big Ballymurphy Massacre.
Okay, our next recipient is actually traveling to Boston, so he was good enough to provide a tape so he could speak to this and be part of this webinar. We're going to go to the St. Patrick's Centre and Dr. Tim Campbell.
Hi folks, my name is Tim Campbell. I'm the director of the St. Patrick's Centre here in Downpatrick. I'm so sorry I can't be with you today in the Houben Centre in Ardoyne. After 3 years of not going anywhere at all, it just so happens that today I'm on a sales mission in America, and I'm really disappointed not to be able to catch up with you, particularly with yourselves, Dolores and Martin. Right now I'm in LaGuardia Airport trying to get to a press lunch in the Tourism Ireland have organised in New York, so sorry about that. I would like to thank the AOH, the LAOH, and especially everybody who's contributed to the Christmas appeal, the AOH National Board, the Freedom for All Ireland Chairman Martin Galvin for the AOH, and Dolores as the Chair for the Freedom of All Ireland Committee for the LAOH, as well as President of the LAOH Karen Keane. Thank you, Danny. Also, we were so starstruck and proud when we saw you at the White House this St. Patrick's Day with President Biden. It was amazing, and you carried the message of the AOH with such dignity and integrity. Congratulations. The St. Patrick's Centre is the only permanent exhibition about St. Patrick in the world. We're located in Downpatrick, just outside Belfast, right beside St. Patrick's grave. We are celebrating what the AOH and the LAOH do so well every year, which is help to organise the biggest cultural event in the world that happens annually, which is St. Patrick's Day. And we're encouraging people from all faiths and traditions, particularly in this part of the world, to come together to find out more about St. Patrick. And St. Patrick's a great role model for bringing people together because he's someone from the island of Britain who became the patron saint of Ireland. You can't get any more cross-community than that. So we're a non-profit registered charity, a centre for tourism and reconciliation, and it is dedicated to all of the people of Ireland. We were created through finances secured 20 years ago as part of the International Fund for Ireland, and we're here to encourage people to help bring normality, stability, bring people together as part of the Good Friday Agreement. Children, of course, provide the future for the island of Ireland, and the funding that you give us will help provide and facilitate for our programme to bring thousands, about 3,000 young people together every year to talk about all the issues, the kids from different traditions who they may not ordinarily meet. You have been able to support us with our elementary books, St. Patrick elementary books. You've helped us to refurbish costumes for drama workshops. You've helped us to reprint our educational leaflets and to get them out and distribute them. You've helped us to support teaching staff and for art competitions. And the story of St. Patrick itself provides a role model for peace and mutual understanding, a vehicle to bring everybody together from all traditions. And we've all sorts of political leaders come to the centre. With Michelle O'Neill, for example, the Deputy First Minister from Sinn Féin here yesterday. So we're very much at the centre of driving things forward. And this grant will allow us to continue that work. And we'd like to thank you so much for your extremely generous donation to the work of the centre on behalf of everybody working here, our voluntary board, as well as the thousands of young people who use the centre, the community members whom it benefits. And we would want to let you know that we're deeply, deeply grateful. I'm so sorry I can't be with you, but I look forward to getting with my friends in the AOH and the LAOH very soon. God bless. Thank you.
Another of the campaigns which have been such an inspiration to everyone, to every family fighting for justice, the Ballymurphy Massacre campaign.
My name is John Taggart. My father was murdered in the Ballymurphy Massacre. He was shot 14 times. I'm here representing 11 innocent victims who were murdered in August 1971 for 3 days. The same paratroopers who murdered our loved ones went on, allowed to go on to die 6 months later, and we're 14 more innocent victims. I just want to thank the ladies AOH, the AOH Freedom of All Ireland organisation for the kind donation. That donation will be going towards the remembrance of our loved ones. So it'll be remembered in eternity, and the great work for yourselves. I'll go a long way with that. What happened in Ballymurphy, with 11 innocent victims were murdered. We were all very, very young at the time. I was 11 years of age. But the British didn't believe that children like myself would grow up and turn our anger into determination to clear our loved ones' names. The massacre included a mother of 8 and a priest, Father Houben. Throughout our campaign, we've been supported by people like yourself from a very, very early age, and I'm honoured to see many people here there from the very, very start. That I got to know personally. Your work is fantastic. Of people like yourself, we've been described as a success story, but there's people like yourselves who, and old people in the room at the moment, who helped, who supported us, who in times of need were there supporting us and cheering us on. That work in 2011 been securing a congressional hearing in Washington. And like the same at the time, the best way to get to 10 Downing Street is through Washington, and that's where yourselves have brought us. Continued work over to our inquest. It was very traumatic at times, but you were there with us as well and sat with us. And then when the proposals come over of the British government to stop all legacy inquests, civil, and every avenue, legal avenue for families like ourselves, just with our supporters. When you had the Secretary of State, Brandon Lewis, tried to sell these proposals in America, it was great that the week before we had Martin and different ones sitting with us. We're updating on the campaign, updating the legacy situation at the time. And in a way, when he went in the room and says, Ballymurphy Massacre family shouldn't have to wait too long. He's actually using our one's name. And I was big lad. Feedback from that meeting, he was laughed at her. And that's what they are. They're laughable the way they treat families like ourselves. But I'm glad you're here. It's great that the work of the Exatani with the webinars, it was fantastic. But remember with Ballymurphy, there was no cameras, there was nobody on the ground to record all these things. Technology now brings our story far and wide and wide, and which we've done all in our campaign. And again, like I want to thank all you personally, those who donated, those who organised it, fundraised, and made the day a success, and where we are. It was a successful campaign. We did commit to the other side. All our loved ones were declared entirely innocent, and I think in a way it gives hope to others, and we can support them in any way we can of how far we get with help with themselves. Thanks very much.
Stand in front of the monitor. Just stand in front. Okay, we're going to go back to Tyrone now. We've heard about Belfast National Graves. We're going to go to Tyrone, the Patriots there, Tyrone National Graves.
Céad Míle Fáilte, my name is Eamon Hanna. I am the chairperson of Tyrone National Graves Association. First, I'd like to thank our host today on AOH and the LOAH and the Freedom for All Ireland for giving me this opportunity to thank your members for the ongoing support and generosity. I'd like to give a brief outline of what Tyrone National Graves Association is about. Our objectives is to restore and maintain fitly the graves and memorials of Tyrone's patriot dead, to commemorate those who died in the cause of Irish freedom, to compile and record such graves and monuments. Our guiding principles is only a 32-county Irish Republic represents the true aspirations of those who give their lives for Irish freedom. Tyrone National Graves Association is an independent body with no political affiliations to any political party. It was established in the 1940s to look after the graves and monuments to our patriot dead in Tyrone. Work immediately began to erect headstones over the graves of our patriots of the War of Independence era in the 1920s, and it has continued since the 1940s, and it maintains over 60 graves and monuments across Tyrone and even into Monaghan and Armagh. Some of these graves are now a century old and need considerable work and refurbishment. We also help with the erection of monuments, most recently in the Thomas Clark Garden in Dungannon and a Lochgall monument on the Tyrone-Monaghan border. We have over 40 members that sit on committee from across Tyrone, and they sit on a voluntary basis. The main fundraising for our organisation is the chapel gate collections at Easter, and we are relying on the generosity of the AOH and the LAOH and the Republican people of Tyrone and further afield. We receive no government funding. I'd just like to finish off to thank you again for all your generosity and extend an invitation to you all, for your families and friends, if you're ever over in Ireland, call again. Thank you very much. Gormagh.
Next, we're going to go to somebody who's was a very familiar face for a long time in the United States, although I didn't recognize him. I used to see him with an orange jumpsuit. He's here today in a much better capacity, but much easier capacity, representing Greater New Lodge and the work that they do. Joe Doherty, I almost said free Joe Doherty.
I'm an Joe Doherty. I was in New York federal prison from 1983 to 2022, so I spent almost 9 years without ever been charged. Tough as it was in that prison, I probably couldn't have survived without the support outside. Irish American Labour Coalition, the Irish American Unity Conference, particularly my fellow organisation, the AOH. I'm actually an honorary member of several chapters right across America. You know, New York, Philadelphia, California. I was never asked to join the ladies. Should have been asked that. I represent the Greater New Lodge Memorial Society. It's not just about the monument built, the granite, the bricks, and the inscriptions and things like that there. It's about living people. It's a very, very small community. We have over 120 people who were killed in that community. That affected the whole community. You know, fathers, sons, cousins, loved ones, neighbours, everyone is in support of that there. There's some very controversial killings there with Pat Finnegan, the civil rights lawyer who was murdered by state forces. The New Lodge 6 that was mentioned by Mark, I was there when these 6 lodges coming into the dance hall was shot dead by British snipers. There's the McGurk's killings. I was there as a 14-year-old pulling the rubble away, taking the 16 bodies out. Not a young lad called Peter McBride. He was sent there, and his ma sent him there to get back in the boat. He was accosted by the British Army. He was attacked, then he shot in the back. Now it was a broad daylight, so it was amazing. Probably Mark didn't say that they were actually brought into a British court, their own court. They were sentenced to life in prison. But within 12 months, they were released, reinstated back into the British Army, and began their contact. So that affected Jean, the mother, and affected the community, because it shows the lack of value on the lives of a civilian held by the state. And it should never be forgotten about that. Now, the committee, me and John and Finlay, it's not just the murder, it's not just about the monument, it's about the lives, it's about education. We have a youth program to bring young people in, talk to victims, families, and survivors to get there. So this check is going to be very, very handy. We'll be taking them on trips and things to get there, and symposiums and seminars, and to get them to carry on the legacy, the pain, and the loss that was in that community. So I'd like to thank AOH and the ladies AOH, of course, for this check. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to one of the cross-community groups that we support. Again, in Belfast, we're going to call on Bridges Beyond Box.
It's great to see you all here, and I want to just thank the AOH and the ladies AOH for having us back again. There's so many great causes here. We feel very humbled that we're included in this year. This year we've got a bit more money. We want to really thank you guys for that. But I really have to a big shout out to Paul and Agnes Gowdy. A chance meeting with them guys in 2016 at the Gaelic League in Corktown and Detroit. Led to us being part of this year, so we really appreciate that. We're always eternally grateful for them. Again, thank you AOH, thank you leaders at the AOH, and a big thank you Martin and all the team that have travelled over from America this year. I know you couldn't get the last time round, obviously because of coronavirus. But it was interesting there. I had a chat with Marilyn just as we come in there tonight or today, and it made me think about the coronavirus, because we, for 2 years, because our program, we're taking boxers back and forward to America, and it's so difficult to travel. It got me thinking that we actually started thinking outside the box and doing different things with kids. We're doing online mentoring with our kids from Ireland and from America. So many other things that we're fit to do with the donations that you continue to give us. We've actually come out as a program, we've come out stronger. And this year, we're traveling back to America in September. We're actually encompassing 3 different cities. We're bringing a team of 20 kids over to America to go to Boston on the 1st of September. Then we're staying there for 5 days, traveling up to compete in Detroit, and then we're traveling down to Cincinnati. So our program has grown. We started off in Detroit, and over the 7 years, we're now doing, we have a program now that is nobody else is doing in the sport of boxing. To take these kids and let them see 3 different cities. Not only are we encompassing our own kids, but these American kids as well are getting involved in this. During our program, we've had 60 different kids from the island of Ireland, from both sides of the community, have travelled over to America, met so many different families, but also we've had 86 kids from the USA have been involved in this program as well, travelling back and forward of all different ethnicities. So I think that's very, very important for our kids moving forward, because these kids, whether they're ever going to be the next Tyson Fury or the next mechanic or whatever it may be, not a very small percentage are ever going to make it in the sport. But the boxing is a vehicle really, because this is a cultural exchange and it's doing really real good work. And we really appreciate all the help and everything that we're getting from you guys, because it just wouldn't be possible without you. So again, thank you very much for your generous donation, and we hope and pray that these can keep giving us donations to ensure the longevity of this program. So thanks very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, we can take a picture. All right, I've been asked to have everybody, ask for all the speakers to speak more directly into the mic. There's some places where there's sound isn't coming through. So again, I just ask everybody to speak directly into the mic. You have very moving and important things to say. We want to make sure that our webinar audience across the United States can hear. Okay, from cross community to cross border, we're going to go to Deirtheach Oirialla.
Hello, thank you everybody for coming here. On behalf of Deirtheach Oirialla, I want to thank everybody in America and all the Americans who have come here today and who have contributed to the Freedom of All Ireland Fund. We're based in South Armagh, right on the border with North Louth, and we're rebranding the reputation of the area that was bestowed upon us through the British government's criminalisation policy in the 1970s. I'm sure you've all heard abandoned people. That's us. So since the peace process started, South Armagh has been fighting once again to shed that label or the stigma that was placed upon it. We are seeking to revitalise the area by reviving and promoting all aspects of Irish culture and heritage. We want South Armagh to share and promote its unique history and for the area to become synonymous with Irish culture, including the protection and promotion of our mother tongue, the Irish language. Deirtheach Oirialla translates as native or from Oiriall, which is the name of the area of land in South Armagh, North Louth, where we're based. The good people of South Armagh are building on that strong sense of identity, and we're teaching future generations to have pride in their culture, their heritage, and their past. With the help of you in America, the IOH and the LAOH, we're investing in projects that will help heal the fractured society and heal the damage that was done to our area by the Brits, to provide an outlet for us to express ourselves emotionally in an honest way as we see it, using drama and culture, and to keep our local history alive through stories and storytelling, and even through song and dance. But I won't do that for you now. South Armagh always has had a rich tapestry of traditional Irish culture and ways. Deirtheach Oirialla is relevant, appropriate and vital in the South Armagh area, especially in today's times. We're changing the narrative going forward. We have a long road ahead, but your donations and the fundraising in the IOH and in the ladies IOH, you're helping us to do that. And we want you to know that we appreciate everything that you're doing, and every dollar that you raise goes directly to the project for Remain Backward.
And from cross border back to cross community, we're going to go to Omagh and County Tyrone and the Omagh Thunder basketball.
Hello, my name is Eamon Daly. I'm co-chairman of the Houben Centre Basketball Club. It's not a cross community, it's the whole community. We have children from Poland, Yugoslavia, and even Ukraine play on the team. And we're doing great. And just to put it very simple, without the AOH, there would be no Houben Centre Basketball Club. You know, this last year has been quite tough. You know, we had to get makeup games, and hopefully in September we start a new season. And like I say, there would not be Houben Thunder without the AOH. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the contributions throughout the years. Thank you.
And from Tyrone, we're coming back to Belfast. We're going to a cultural organization, a traditional organization, the O'Neill Alsop Memorial Band.
Deirtheach, is Mr. Katrina, August, Anya Marie, is Anya Day. Tasha, I'm Honey, George Carfield first. Hello, I'm Katrina McGiver, and this is Anya Marie. We're both here from Belfast. I'm the band sergeant for the General Neil and Robert Alsop Memorial Flute Band. And a big false road to the AOH and the AOH, and a Garvila Magic for the generous continued support. The General Neil and Robert Alsop Memorial Flute Band are based in the New Lodge area in North Belfast and take in members from north, south, east and west, as well as some from the outside Belfast area. The age to join the band starts at 13 and up. Our current membership is 46 members, and we are managed by a committee consisting of local Republicans, including former prisoners of war. We practice each week in the local community centre. This grant will help us refurbish and replace some of our flutes and drums, and it will also enable us to improve the quality of our playing and the musical ability of our members. It will also enable us to attract more young people to the band and increase the appreciation of music to the wider community. We also want to open up a discussion on how arts of all kinds can be a tool in allowing community and personal conflict issues to be resolved without conflict. We recently took part in several Easter Rising commemorations in the Belfast area and have been highly commended by local people in the way we represented and played all over Easter. With the restrictions lifted, we plan to bring the members of the band on educational enhancement visits of our country's history. This will be incredibly beneficial for the younger members of the band. It will educate them basically in what the people of Ireland have done for the struggle of the Irish freedom. These will include sites such as Kilmainham Jail, Mirror Street, the GPO, Arbor Hill Cemetery, Glasnevin Cemetery, and visiting the graves of our patriot dead, along with several other historical sites. Through these historical tours, we want to bring to life the songs and music our members play on the road. They will learn where the songs came from and what events and actions inspired some of the songs. They will see and experience firsthand many of the sites they have only heard of through song. Through the continued support of the AOH and the ALAMH, we can see a bright future ahead for us. We would like to invite you all to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you will get to see all the activities of the band and band fit your donations have enabled us to carry out. The address is www.facebook.com/O'Neill and Alsop Memorial Flute Band, and the YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/O'Neill and Alsop Memorial Flute Band. Garmina Mild.
Okay, in the interim, we did just receive a text message from Ailu and Frankie Quinn and a family member with a serious medical emergency that he had to deal with. So we just hope the best for her, his family member. And again, we were hosted by Ailu the other day. They do tremendous work and pointing out not only assisting prisoners, ex-prisoners, but even some of the way their family members have a form of PTSD, just from the impact on their family. And we'll continue to support that, hope for the best for Frankie's family. And now just again, I pointed that out the last time, no good deed goes unpunished. We have somebody comes on, does a great job with our video, our webinar, puts it on for us. And as a repayment, he has to last every year. We don't do it until the end. Sean Murray.
Thank you once again to AOH and Ladies AOH for considering us for this funding this year. It's been a busy enough year for the organisation. I think the pinnacle of that has been working with the Omagh Road families in what has been a pretty momentous year, thanks to Mark and all the crew at RFJ. I think with that Ombudsman report and with held for so long, to see finally those families getting some semblance of justice has been very, very happy to be working with them. So what have we been doing over this last year? We have been working on a focus group that takes the archive stories, the personal stories of victims and survivors, and bringing it to another level. And why is that? We are trying to fill a void that that basically has been withheld after the provisions of the Stormont House Agreement still haven't been implemented. So what we're saying is we don't need those crumbs that are being given by the British government. We can bypass that. With the help of yourselves and the funding from yourselves, we can tell our own stories. We can work with victims closely, again through Mark at RFJ, and put those stories out there. Personally archive those stories for future generations. I think the work is very, very sensitive. And this focus group with leading academics such as Anna Bryson at Queen's University, Bill Rosen, Ulster University, Phil Scraton, who headed the Hillsborough inquiry that saw justice for the 96 victims of Hillsborough in Britain in 1987. People like that who are on the top of their game in academic circles, and work with that focus group to archive these stories for future generations that has legal and ethical obligations, again, that we can bypass the provisions that were there in the Stormont House Agreement. So your work is invaluable to victims and survivors, and it's always humbling to be in the company of you all tonight, and those who are obviously not here in the US. So thank you. And on a final note, I'm so happy to see people here who were central in making the film Unquiet Graves. People like Catherine, Bill, Sean, Dolores, it's too many to name, Kathleen, Nancy, Dan. It's great to have you all here, and I'm very, very humbled to be in your company. So thank you all again. Your work has been invaluable. Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, we're going to get to some closing comments, and we're going to call, obviously, this is a partnership between the LAOH and AOH, and we're going to call first on the Freedom for All Ireland chairperson of the LAOH, Dolores Desch.
Thank you, Martin. It's great to be back at the Houben Centre, and I can think of no more fitting place for this program this year than at a Center for Peace, Reconciliation, and Hope for the Future, because that's what this center offers to the community. Thanks to Father Gary and for the wingman, Brian McKee, for hosting us today. By the way, Brian has a book, Ardoin 69, you can see him afterwards. But we've had a very busy week. Sean and Martin have made sure of that. And we've talked with some of the groups that are in the Christmas appeal. We visited with them. We heard about their projects, their programs, their plans for the future. And, you know, they've come to us, and as I said today, they've said thank you. And, you know, that's nice to hear, but I'm here to say thank you. Thank you to these programs for what you do in your community, for your justice programs, for your cultural programs, because you're making your communities better. And thank you for allowing us to be a part of that. We've heard this week from families that are affected by violence as well as injustice, that have been trying to get inquests open, and this amnesty legislation that's being proposed has to be stopped. So I'm asking all of our members in the states, and when we go back, we're gonna, you know, get back together again, but to oppose this amnesty legislation, because that's just gonna put back the work that's being done by Relatives for Justice, the Ballymurphy families, the Bloody Sunday families, the Spring Hill, and the list goes on, Spring Hill, West Rock, and all the others. So on behalf of our National President Care team and our national board, I just wanna say thank you to all of you for the work that you do.
And our national vice president is somebody really involved. When you talk about leadership being involved in Freedom for All Ireland, our national vice president is somebody, as well as our president, who really reflect that. I'm going to call on Sean Penn.
Us leaves. Oh, sorry, wrong. Oh, it's great to be here. I cannot think, as Doris said, anybody place more fitting than here for what it stood for. This used to be an old decrepit building, and it was a dream of the people of here and Father Gary to put this here, what it stands for peace and for young people. And we came here because of that, but also because of the terrible events when Simon Coney was here and cowards came up with a bomb threat. So we look to the future. That's who we're here to help, not to the past like those people. Like Father Scouri says, to take on this project, when you take on a project, the odds are so long, the only way it can happen is with the hand of the God. Well, I can tell you, it's the hand of God that got this place here, but it's the hands of all the people here and all our members that are watching that helped this go on. I know right now we have 51 disciples for this program. We're going to go back and tell all the great work that we've done over here and about all these great groups that we work, where they bring people together through basketball or boxing or your Irish music, and of course all the groups of culture and justice. It's important work that needs to be done, and we need to do more. We will be the leading voice in the country to make sure that your voices are heard, to make sure legacy is addressed, and to make sure the amnesty proposal that Johnson and the Conservative Party over there is trying to push by, not on our watch. We're not going to let that happen. So thank you all for your inspiration. It keeps us going. And I want to also recognize Dolores and Martin for the great work they did, and our leadership of Karen Kane and Danny O'Connell. And with that, I'll send it back to Danny O'Connell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean and Martin. As always, what an incredible job you did putting this great group of people together. I want to thank the 51 Hibernians who are joining you all there today in Belfast, and just keep up the great work. And Martin, you're all set to close. God bless you all.
I want to thank everybody. And I just want to tell everybody in the room, just the people around the country know this and seen it. That's why they're watching. People here should know it. And I just want you to report it back to your groups. Reason we're viewed, people compliment us, they commend us, they say Irish America is doing a great job. We're doing all sorts of things financially, politically. The reason we can accomplish whatever we do accomplish is because we're inspired by you. We hear you. We see what you're doing in terms of fighting for legacy justice. We hear what the British did to you. We hear the work that you're doing, each of you, for Freedom for All Ireland. We want to stand with you. We're standing with you today here at the Houben Centre. We're standing with you in the donations that we made, and we're going to continue to stand with you until we do get Freedom for All Ireland. Thank you very much.
Martin, we have a closing video from Rockland County, the 2016 commemoration. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm getting a request to say something for Joe Austin. Yeah.
I don't want to now. I want to make a presentation to you. So
No, I don't know.
It's too late. Dolores and Sean, will you come up?
Is it a chat?
It is. Just let me say this. Move out of the room. It's not very often that you get a microphone from Martin Galvin. So,
and less often you would get one from Joe Austin.
Yeah, of course. So every year, the Belfast National Graves has an event, a ceremony happening in Belfast prior to the Easter commemoration. The backbone of the Belfast National Graves, and I suppose all National Graves committees, is our respect and our commitment to the families of the patriot dead. And every year we make a coin or a boot, something that is unique to those families. If it is a coin, when the presentations are given out on Easter Sunday, we break the mold. If it is a book, it isn't printed again. So what I would like to do on behalf of the Belfast National Graves is to give Sean, Dolores and Martin this year's presentation that we give the families in Belfast on Easter Sunday. It's a hand-painted Irish slate that says appropriately, Honour Ireland's Dead. So on our behalf, we're giving it to our friend, we're giving it to all of us. The views of the people, the power of the engine, the fights for freedom, that in our bad days we look at and say, thank you, you kept us going. So on behalf of the Belfast National Graves, got a million miles. We've also made them honorary members of the Felons Club. Not that you need it for the word is.
On that note, before anybody else comes up to make any presentations and extend this longer, again, if you contribute, you know why you contribute listening to these people. If you haven't contributed, you know why you should be. We stand with these people politically, we stand with them financially, we stand with them morally. We're going to continue to stand with them. And thank you very much, the members of the Ancient Order of Hibernians and ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. You're the ones around the country who do the work that allow us to make these contributions, allow us to achieve what we've done politically, allow us to give these people the support that they more than deserve. Thank you very much.
As down the glen one Easter morn to a city fair rode I. There on lines of marching men in squadrons passed me by. No pipe did hum, no battle drum did sound its loud tattoo, but the Angelus bells or the leafy swells rang out in the foggy.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a bit of music just for the studies here at the Juror.
High in Dublin town hung there the flag of war. For 'twas better to die 'neath an Irish sky than at Suvla or Sudelbar. And from the plains of royal meads strong men came hurrying through, while Britannia's Huns with their long-range guns sailed in through the foggy dew. Our bravest fell, and the Requiem bell rang mournfully and clear. For those who died at Eastertide in the springing of the year, how the world did gaze with deep amaze at those fearless men, but few, who bore the fight that freedom's light might shine through the foggy dew. And back through the glen I rode again, and my heart with grief was sore. For I parted then with valiant men, whom I never shall see more. But to and fro in my dreams I go, and I kneel and pray for you. For slavery fled, all glorious dead, when you fell